Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Newbie Dentist Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Omed Azami. In this week's episode, I wanted to take some time and talk about accountability. Accountability is a huge topic and one that I'm sure most of you will be aware of to some extent or have obviously implemented it into your own lives. But how I look at accountability is to break it up into two forms. One is internal accountability. Internal accountability is accountability that you have with yourself. So you set a goal or a target or a task that you want to accomplish, and no one knows about it, but it's something that you know about and something that you hold yourself accountable to accomplish. They say that goal setting is one of the main forms of internal accountability, and it's important to set, strategic, useful goals for yourself. So, the accountability can be a daily thing, that I talked about in the previous episode, for example, of a morning routine that, yes, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to hold myself accountable to these things. Internal accountability really relies on your own willpower, your own grit, your own determination, and just a bit of reflection as well. Because if you're honest with yourself after a day or a week or a month, you can really be reflect on, did I accomplish those, 5 things that I wanted to do? Did I exercise 3 times a week like I told myself I would? Did I follow up on that patient referral? Did I, read that chapter of that textbook that I was hoping to brush up on? And it is these things that give us a sense of self-satisfaction. Internal accountability is really one of the amazing tools that if you learn to implement into your life, you can get some really cool and useful outcomes. Another form of accountability is external accountability. External accountability is quite, as the name, hints at, is accountability that you bring onto yourself from an external source. So a classic example of this would be like a workout buddy or a study partner where you make a plan and a commitment. I'm going to show up Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. and we're going to, go for a run, or we're going to exercise, or we're going to study and review these chapters. Another form of external accountability is, in school, for example, I have an assignment due at this time, I need to get it done and I need to submit it. This external accountability adds an added variable of like pressure onto us, and it can be a really useful tool because it makes us deliver, it makes us want to fulfill the promises that we've put out there. And through this external accountability, we can actually get a lot done. For myself personally, I used to be on the spectrum of internal versus external accountability. I was very heavy on the external. Growing up, if I was going to, for example, go and do my driver's license exam, I would tell anyone who would listen, oh, I'm going on this time, I'm going to do my driver's exam. And obviously, if I ended up failing, then, I'd be embarrassed in front of my friends and classmates. And that pressure and that external accountability really pushed me to go on, try and get my license or try and get into dental school when I told people I was applying, or, I was applying for X, Y, and Z, and then things like that kind of happen. As I've, got a bit older now, I'm starting to really get a lot of enjoyment out of internal accountability. So I like having that feeling of self-satisfaction before I go to bed. And I'll look back and be like, yep, I did this and this and this today. I accomplished these goals. I told myself I was going to email this person, and I did. And I was going to go for a run, and I did that. And these internal accountabilities are really a great way of holding yourself responsible for your own actions. There's a book by Jocko, who is an ex-Navy SEAL, called Extreme Ownership. And, while this is an extreme form of internal accountability, in that book, he talks about and gives examples of holding everything that happens to you. You hold yourself accountable to that. It's up to me to make my work situation better, to get my health and fitness better, to make my relationships with people better. It's not anybody else's fault. It's not my boss's fault that I'm not progressing in my job, or it's not my patient's fault that my books aren't building at work. It comes down to me and how can I control these things, and how can I really take accountability and try and accomplish them. Some of the tools that I've found useful for internal accountability are, like to-do lists. To-do lists are a great way of tracking some of the things that you need to get done, and, being able to tick that off or drag it across to the completed column comes with that nice, rush that, yes, I accomplished that. I'm happy with that. I'm proud of that. One thing I heard on a podcast recently, and I haven't implemented yet, was Kevin O'Leary, who is on Shark Tank in the U.S. and is a successful entrepreneur and businessman. And he heard this from somebody else as well, but he talked about the 3 points on a sticky pad. So he has implemented this into his own life, and it's a form of productivity and accountability that he does, where before he goes to bed on a yellow sticky pad, he writes down 3 things that he'll do first thing when he wakes up in the morning. So, I didn't finish this project. I didn't email this person back. I didn't, finish this task. So when he wakes up in the morning, that's right there. It's stuck to his computer beside where he needs to do his work, sits down, gets it done. And that form of satisfaction from getting that task done is an excellent form of internal accountability for himself. So that's one simple strategy that I think you guys can implement right away and see the results of. Having said that, I think there's definitely place for external accountability, especially for tasks and projects. It's really important to let people around you know some of your goals so that they can hold you accountable. So try that out for yourself. Have a think. What are some things that you are good at holding yourself accountable for? What are some things that you may need the assistance of a study buddy or a gym partner or a business partner to hold you accountable? And the more things and the more people you're accountable to, the more leverage you have in the success that you can create for yourself. So have a think about accountability. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you prefer internal versus external? What are some of the tools that you use to implement accountability into your own life? And do you practice extreme ownership? Do you take ownership of things that happen to you, or do you always reflect it off to something that's not in your own control? I hope you guys enjoyed this week's topic on accountability. It is one of my favorites and an area where I'm trying to improve at for sure. And I hope to see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Newbie Dentist Podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and head over to iTunes and give the show a 5-star rating. For all show notes and to access all previous episodes, head over to www.newbiedentist.com. Have a great day.